Members of a right-wing organization's student wing filed an FIR against me 2 months ago. For legal reasons and to save my job, I was forced to take a social media break. Thank you, Vakil Saab. So what did I do during this time? I crafted a table. A handmade, 6-seater, wooden, folding dining table. Yep. I measured, cut, glued, joined, sanded, stained, and polished wood to create my first ever wooden dining table. This was my first woodworking project, an idea fueled by an ADHD brain and an overconfident personality. I still do not know the names of the tens of different tools I used to make this table. Sometimes I even use the wrong ones. But here I am. And here is my table. During the whole process, I kept thinking about my country. I know, it sounds so effing grandiose, but that is actually what I did. Partly to keep myself occupied, partly to introspect, but largely and mostly to keep myself from going insane. Because so many things were happening around me, and I could not use my voice to do the one thing that mattered. Talk. Question, create. Every step of this process seemed to me like a metaphor of our times. Like while I cut through these first 3 pieces to make the weight-bearing base of my table with a saw meant largely for steel, I thought about the tatters of my country's social fabric. When I shifted to the electric saw, I saw how easy it has now become to speed up this hatred between my fellow countrymen. How easy it is now to cut through love and brotherhood. While I hammered away at the joining sides of these pieces with an unsharpened chisel, working purely with brute force and determination, I thought about the once uncouth, unrefined, and often underestimated ideas of the right wing, now shaped into legitimate realities, purely by hammering in those ideas with brute force and sheer determination into young, insecure minds. While I sanded my tabletop, the flecks of sawdust that hit my face reminded me of the erosion in our values as a country. I thought about how we as a people have almost accepted terror, violence, and even death, as long as it is happening to other people. I even stained and polished my table on my own as my phone blew up with threatening calls and messages from people among whom my number was deliberately circulated along with lies so obvious that it hurt me mentally when people, colleagues, friends I have called family for the past decade believed them. I wondered all the while if I'll be able to ever wash off this stain of betrayal I felt from my own. But then, I was thinking about the others from the same group of family, friends, students, and colleagues, and the hundreds of others who came out to join me, support me, show their solidarity. People who risked judgment from increasingly polarized neighbors, office spaces, classrooms, and even friends, people who loved me simply for daring to do what something they too thought was right, people who were ready to give up their freedom to ensure mine. People with whom I shared nothing in common except the fierce desire to fight the fascist forces threatening my country and her people right now. People who have put the polish on this table. People to whom I will dedicate this table. This table where Hindus, Muslims, Christians, Sikhs, Dalits, the LGBTQIA+, Mool Nivasis, people from every language, every region, every class will have a place to sit. They will have a share of everything on this table. I was slapped with an FIR 2 months ago when I asked for accountability from the government for one of the biggest tragedies of the last decade, the brutal terrorist attack in Pahalgam. The FIR was to remind me, probably, that I am a middle-class, salaried, married woman with so much to lose. The FIR was to remind me, again, probably, that I have no right to question the government despite the fact that the Supreme Court has been vouching for freedom of speech and expression. The FIR that worked to remind me to shut up. But do you know the problem with people like me? The problem with women like me? We don't know how to shut up. We may get distracted for a second there, maybe intimidated, maybe even influenced by the desire for banality, the comfort of the ordinary, and the lure of the normal. But we know in our hearts, well behaved women hardly make history. I cannot promise you that I will change the world or even make a dent in the increasing monster of hatred in our country. But at my home, at my table, anyone who believes in the dream of justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity for our sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic is welcome and will always remain so. Hi, I'm Dr. Medusa, but now you also know me as Dr. Madhurika Koti, and I am here to stay.